Hey there, welcome to another week of Radio Melee, but it's not just any other week because this week is a special week because we got Axe.
Yes.
And we've had Axe before, but I think it's been like a year
Mm-hmm.
or something. And, Axe is a staple of the community, one of pretty much everyone's favorite players to watch. So, especially considering, I don't know, it feels like you've been pretty active in tournaments lately. You just got back from Major Upset, was it? And was it? Or no, DreamHack or both?
Yeah, I mean both of them. It's been like weeks in a row of Melee, but yeah, it was Major Upset and then DreamHack San Diego was the most recent one.
DreamHack San Diego.
Mhm.
Yeah, and did you I think you won teams? Was it?
Yeah, Omps and I won teams. Like he kind of carried me, I'm not gonna lie.
He would say
it feels,
that, I'm sure.
It feels really weird. Feels really weird being carried by a Yoshi, let me tell you.
I played teams with him before. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. But it was fun. Yeah. But so Major Upset and then DreamHack San Diego. And then I have a Smash Camp coming up this weekend too.
Oh wow.
Wow. So it's kind of funny because from my perspective, like I haven't really been traveling to stuff because they've been like, I don't know. I usually go to like the Genesis Big House, like the ones that the ones that are, how do you say, like the staples that they tend to fall more in the summer for whatever reason, and I guess kind of like the fall and the winter. But there's actually a ton of events, and you've been actually really kind of on the grind. So yeah, it's kind of cool that there's so many events to watch every weekend. I'm not traveling, so I'm just in the stream every weekend.
Yeah, I normally don't like to compete that often. Like I don't like to travel that often. But lately I've been having kind of a different mentality, and I think that's making me want to like just go in a lot more.
Oh, very nice.
What's the change?
It's kind of like I want to. I guess I'm not. This might sound weird, but I'm not taking it as seriously as I used to. So I'm more doing it kind of like, you know what? I want the experience. Like I want to go and have fun, and I want to. I almost think of it as like I'm getting older type of thing where I'm like, I want to look back on this in life and be happy that I did it and just like have a fun time and remember it. So, I'll do things like I had my family with me at Genesis, for example, or I'm just trying to like experience a lot of things and not like put my heart and soul into the one performance anymore. So, yeah, that's making me just want to enter a lot more.
Well, that's awesome. And I think, finals last weekend really exemplified that, right? Where, it started with if spoilers, I guess, for people who don't know, but it started with Pikachu Yoshi, and then it was Young Link Yoshi, and then it was Fox Yoshi. If I have that correct, maybe I'm switching one or two, but I think that's pretty much it. And I was surprised by that, and someone in chat was actually telling me, "Oh, Axe has been talking about this recently. This switch to having more fun." And I was like, "Oh, well, this is he's living it. He's really showing that's what he's thinking about that." So is that in line with this? Are we going to see more swaps from you? Is that part of it, or what all is involved with this?
Partly, I like. I'm kind of trying to find the balance of having fun and wanting to win, and it's like both, right? And I did want to win versus Amsa, but after playing him the first game, I was like, dude, I feel tired after like going through this whole event. Like I had kind of a long losers run, and the way he was playing, I was like, dude, I don't think I'm gonna win this. so I was like, I'm just gonna try to have a good time, have fun, and maybe something crazy will happen. You'll never know. And I would like it if people would. In my mind, I was kind of like, I could either just keep going Pikachu and probably get 3-0'd. That's how I felt in the moment, or try to make it more fun if I can, and maybe something crazy maybe I could win. Who knows? And so that didn't work out, but I mean, I had a fun time. I don't regret it or anything, but yeah, I mean, you might be seeing more secondaries come out here and there. I've been loving the Young Link, some Fox here and there, but yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to have a more fun time, and I want to look back on it and say, hey, I had a lot of fun, instead of saying, oh, I'm so devastated because I lost.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I'm curious, I brought up the finals and you're like, well, no, I'm still trying to win. And so do you find, you said you're finding this balance. Do you find, what's the challenge there? Are you worried you're going to be too silly and your rank is going to tank? Are you worried that you're not going to want to try and win? Like what do you find is most challenging to you about this balance? Because it sounds like there's something going on there.
Well, something that helps already with that is that my ranking already tanked before, so I was already, I
You've
went
been
down.
on that roller coaster.
Yeah, and like if I'm not careful, I could go even lower than that even because everyone's just crazy these days.
Right.
But I guess I don't feel afraid to drop in ranks anymore. I feel like that was something I was really holding on to, and then it happened, and I'm just like.
And you survived.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
And the climb is really fun, and like you kind of have to like at that moment when you've already climbed and you fall, like I guess you kind of have to fall to climb back up again. And to me the climb has just been really fun. So I'm having a fun time just seeing if I can like make it back up to anywhere close to the top again. And to me, it's just fun. I don't know, it's just fun. And I might, who knows? Maybe I'll just maybe I will make it up there and then fall again and then climb back up again. But to me, it's just, I don't know. It's just fun to see what I can do.
Mm-hmm. Why? I'm curious. You are top 10 right now, though, right?
Yeah, for the 2020 for last year's rankings, and currently number 10.
So when he says all the way back to the top, I mean he was ranked.
Yeah.
What'd you get up to? 4 was your highest, or 3?
Yeah, I was ranked 4.
Yeah.
I think I made 3 in one of the summer rankings.
Right.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible, by the way. So let's not take that away from you. And speaking about that, actually, you were talking about, you've already gotten back to top 10 from where you were before, and you're wanting to go all the way back, and I'm sure you'd like another major win. What do you think has sort of changed? I mean, what would you say are your biggest hurdles now? What are Pikachu's biggest hurdles? What are Axe's biggest hurdles to that? Right? Because you're saying the field has changed. I mean, do you still have faith that it's doable? Do you think Pikachu needs a secondary because you're going Fox more, like you did so well against HBox with Fox at that summit with the Axe down throw? I just curious, what you kind of see are the biggest obstacles here.
I think you can just straight up solo main Pikachu. I think he's fine for that. But I think me as a player, like I have some clear weaknesses. Like I don't really see myself beating Hungrybox with Pikachu. Like maybe, but like just the way that he plays it, I feel like a secondary is probably better for me there, which, I've been playing Fox lately. But I do think that if I were to play a different way with Pikachu, I think the character could actually handle a player like Hungrybox.
Oh, wow.
But I don't think I can personally. I feel like if Ralph, Swift, the other top Pikachus, like if they could improve to the point where they could challenge Hungrybox with Pikachu with a different play style, like I could see that working. But I don't know. I run into back air over and over and over again. I'm like, dude, I guess I don't really have the patience. I think it's a lot of patience that you need. But I do think Pikachu himself can do it. For me, though, I think I probably require a secondary here and there for specific people. But I think for 99% of the players I'm against, I'm probably Pikachu. The secondaries are for like very, very specific people or situations. So the
way, I mean, obviously I'm just a spectator here, but I've watched you play Melee for a long time, and obviously, the way I almost feel about it watching you is I used to kind of feel this way a little bit about like PPU, for example, when he would go, let's say Fox for Amsa. I think that's a great example where for PPU, okay, Marth can do it against Yoshi, right? Like someone like Zane, like he clearly proved that you can really grind the matchup and get really, really good at it. And yeah, you're going to have some stocks where the Yoshi lives up to 200, but Marth can do the matchup, right? But for somebody like PPU, and I think in my mind, I feel like you kind of fall into this bucket where you're so good at not just one character, but the whole cast. And I almost feel like it's like, how do I word? I don't want to word this the wrong way, but it's almost like a shame that like, oh, it's like, oh, like, shouldn't you use more characters in tournament? Like, I want to watch. I like watching your Marth. I like watching your Falco. I like watching your Fox. Like, I feel like you've got so many sick characters that I'm almost like when you have the opportunity to go some other character and use it as a counter pick, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's sick because like you have all those characters and you can play them at like an extremely high level. So it's like I like that, and I feel like that makes sense. That's how I feel kind of watching you. So it's cool to hear that like you find it, you know, more fun, and I'm totally with you on the like the playstyle thing where, you know, I think for Zane, for example, just to finish this kind of parallel, I feel like for Zane, the Marth, like sticking it out with Marth makes sense for Zane. For PPU, going Fox against someone like Amsa makes sense for PPU. Like, you know, it's not just about the characters, it's also about who you are.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I always feel like it's like in Melee, it's kind of crazy how things change in Melee. Like, I feel like it's always impossible until somebody does it. And things are kind of like always changing, right?
Well put.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel that with Pikachu because right now it looks like Pikachu can't beat Puff. In this case, it's Hungrybox, right? But I feel like someone can do it, you know, and it's similar to like most recent example is the Yoshi winning a major. You know, that's an obvious one. But then there's also like, there's no way Captain Falcon can ever handle Mewtwo King or a player like that, you know. And we've gone through like all these things. And I guess another one is like my win streak with Marth, right? Like there's no way Marth can beat Pikachu or beat Axe, and now I have like both Zane and Kadoran, and I'm struggling out as hard out here, you guys. Like everyone's getting too good. But yeah, these things that were seemingly, I guess, people would think of them as impossible. Like you can actually overcome it, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of hard work and stuff. In the case of like my secondaries, I would love to use them more in tournaments, and the only problem is when I think about using a secondary, I'm always just kind of like, man, I think Pikachu is just a little bit better in this situation. Like I always feel like Pikachu is like a little bit better for me to choose in almost every situation. So
right.
You know, people wonder about counter picks. Like maybe I should pick I don't know, Fox against Sheik. But I don't know. I can't help but to feel like my Pikachu does a little bit better versus Sheik, despite the matchup ratio.
Right. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, even historically, it doesn't feel like that's a matchup that, like, you know, I can think of a gazillion times that you've beaten all the top Sheiks. So it's like, you know, and I feel like for the top Sheiks, they're going to be more used to a Fox. Like if they see Fox, they're like, I know this matchup. Whereas if it's Pikachu, it's like, okay, this Pikachu is kind of, you know. So I feel like that one totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, if I look at, for example, Jmook, right, and it's like, well, you know, if he's beating me, I could counterpick with Fox or something. But in my mind, I think, okay, for me to win this, I need to be as good as like Cody or something. Which I don't know about that, dude. Like I see Jmook tear apart pretty much every Fox, and I don't know. It's a little scary to bring out the secondaries, but I had been doing it more just for fun. You know, I think it was that Collision. I actually went all Young Link until I got really far into the bracket, like kind of just for fun. I wanted to try it out. But yeah, things like that I'm thinking about trying out more, especially early on. I might start using secondaries until I reach an opponent that I don't think I could beat with my secondary, but that could make me want to use secondaries more in the future. So kind of want to do it, and it's fun.
I really I think moments like that are really fun. I always think of the Smash documentary or whatever. Is that there's some term where they're talking about PC Chris. I think it's like OC3 or something. You know what I'm talking about? PP, like PC Chris, like he went all characters until, and I think he only played Fox in finals or something.
Oh,
or Super Champ combo. It might have been Super Champ combo. It was one of those. Like he goes like, and I'm not talking about against, you know, anybody. He goes like Peach against like, you know, like other top players. I don't remember the circumstances, but it was one of those. And he kind of talked about how, yeah. And he kind of talked about how like he felt like it, like him having fun like that, like actually kind of made him just like play better and probably from his opponent's perspective made him more unpredictable. You know, it's always a two-way street. I always think of that story when stuff like this comes up.
Yeah, I just got to be careful because I don't want to like mango it and go all Link in some bracket and then lose early.
Yeah.
You know, like there's always the danger of something like that happening.
Mm-hmm.
True.
Mm-hmm.
True.
And you know,
mango it.
you know, X, I remember in the past, I don't know if you remember this was a long time ago, well over 10 years now, where I thought, you know, you had capped out with Pikachu, and I didn't think, and I'll just be honest about it, I didn't think that, I think you were going to need to play like more Falco at the time because that was clearly your strongest secondary. And I said it to you directly on Smashboards. And I was like, yeah, I just think this is what you'll need to do. And you said, no, I think I can do it with Pikachu. And I was like, all right, well, we'll see. And we saw, you know, you could, right? And so every time this conversation comes up in my chat, I tell that story because I learned my lesson. I know better now. And so I let you do what feels right for you. And I try to, you know, consider that when I think about other people too. So I mean, really kudos to you for that one, and to kind of just follow that feeling, follow that story, to kind of circle back to what we were talking about really quickly. I'm really curious about your goals. Like you said, you want to get back to the top. What does that mean? Do you want to be ranked top 5? Do you want to win a major? Do you want to win 2 majors? What does that mean? And what do you see as your biggest obstacle or obstacles to that?
Like hard to say. By the way, I don't remember that.
Fair enough. Well, I wouldn't make that up. I wouldn't do that to myself.
No, I don't. Yeah. I mean, it happened so long ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, my goals, huh? For me, I just kind of think as long as I'm having fun, I still want to continue doing this. I don't know if I'm aiming for a particular ranking or anything. I just want to be the best player that I can be. And I would love to be ranked higher because I see all the top players and everything, and when I see them play, like they're super incredible. You know, I see Cody, I see Mango, Zane, all those guys, and I see them play, and I'm just like, dude, I think I can handle them. Like I can't help but to think that I can take them, and I just want to like, I guess I just want to see if I can, see if I can actually do it. And not just think that I can. Like I actually want to see if I can do it. Like I guess I just want to push myself to see if I can like I guess just be the best version of myself that I can be.
Right. Get wins on whatever all these people, it sounds like.
Yeah, and whatever that makes me ranked is whatever that makes me ranked. But I think one thing I would love to do is looking at the current skill of the players, I would love to be able to win another major. I think the place I would love to be is one of those guys that it's actually, you know, realistically possible that I could win any given major. And I would love that because I feel like the more people that have that kind of title, the more exciting Melee is. And right now there's quite a lot of them, but I would love to join that spot. One thing that I don't really want to do, which is kind of strange, I don't actually want to be the best. I don't think I'd want to be the number 1 player because it's like, I guess I just wouldn't know where to go from there. And I would feel
very honest of you.
Yeah, I would feel like it's less exciting. And I've kind of experienced that like in my state for a while.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And I think most of the top players have, like they become the best in the state and it's like, where do you go from here? And your state is kind of hard, but you always have majors to look forward to. But when you make it there, it's kind of hard. It's just like, well, what do I do now?
Right.
But by the way, the AZ Melee players have gotten like way better. So, but yeah, I guess that's an example. That's just something. But yeah, I pretty much want to get to that spot where maybe I could win a major. I would love to do that.
Yeah. And what do you see as your biggest obstacle?
Honestly, a big one is mentality. When I'm like in the middle of a match recently, it's a little strange because I don't think I used to think this way, but when I'm in a match recently, I'll be playing and everything's fine, and then I get to a point where I'm just like, I think I'm about to win this match, or I think I'm about to lose this match. And I actually start thinking to myself in words in my head during the game. And I start kind of psyching myself out. My mentality has been pretty weak lately in actual sets that I've been playing towards the end of sets. It's kind of strange. Like, it's a kind of anti-clutch lately. So yeah, so I think that's one thing I've really been thinking about a lot lately to try to clean it up. And I did do better this past weekend at DreamHack. So I was happy about that, but cool. I'm hoping to make a lot more improvements on that. And then in general, just labbing out certain situations and just practicing more. I think there's a lot that I probably could be doing better in terms of things that I should be doing in the neutral game and also the punish game, like just improving my gameplay in general. But I think mentality is a huge one. Like, I think I could be edging out some sets that I haven't been lately if I could just think differently during the games.
Well said. Well said. Well, I'm sure there are Pikachu nerds out there that would love to talk to you. And as for mentality, I think that's
Maybe how can they talk to Axe if they wanted to talk to him today?
Oh wow, you're right. If you're a Pikachu nerd watching the show and you're in chat and you want to say, hey, let's talk to Axe and maybe PP and Toph too.
Right now.
Radio Melee, my chat, Toph's chat. Join the Discord, react in the README channel with the GG React, and then use the Smash Roll in the Assign Roles channel, and you'll be able to submit a topic, hop into the waiting room, and we'll pull you in. 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Didn't put all that information in the most organized fashion, but it's all there. Great segue, Toph. Love that for you and of me.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Sure.
Yes.
How's it been with Amsa and Brandon on the team?
It's been rad. We've done, a couple videos. I don't know, I think not all of them have been released on the channel yet. But I think it's just been cool getting them acclimated. It's been cool watching Amsa wear the jersey at tournaments. And I think for Brandon, it's, how do I word this? I wish he was still in the Bay. He just moved to the East Coast, although I don't know if he doesn't seem like he wants to stay there forever, but it was really cool because he did get to come out here and shoot some content and stuff when he first got signed. And I know for Brandon, it's pretty dope because, he's like a lifelong Warriors fan. He's been a Warriors fan all his life. So I think for him, that aspect of it is really cool. The fact that it's kind of this is the sports team that he's always kind of, looked up to. So yeah, it's been really cool having them both. I'm really happy for both of them.
Yeah.
But I guess I'll really know once we're at an event IRL together, I feel like for example, when Zane was on the team for me, I thought it was really cool at tournaments where we'd hang out and we'd kind of, talk about his bracket and stuff like that, or just talk about mentality and things like that. We would do this a lot at Summit, and feel like it'll be neat when I get to be at an event, for example, with Amsa and kind of hang out with him and kind of cheer for him IRL.
Yeah, I think that's cool too because you guys are already good buddies. I mean, not that you're not with Brandon, but
true. Yeah,
I think that's
true.
Nice. On my end, I feel like the character of the content we have done has changed a little bit. So I think with Zane, we were a little sillier, and then he had the whole fake beef with None or whatever. But if you say None, if you ask None, I'm sure he would say it's real. And how could you say that? But I think with Amsa, I think he's a lot more straightforward, and maybe he might get sillier later. I know he has that aspect to him. It might just be early days. And then I think Brandon, I think he's really chill at times, and then sometimes he's ready to roast, and you never. I think it depends on the content. Sometimes you don't know which Brandon you'll get, or you get both, or something. That's kind of fun. So I think the nature of it's changed, and I've only done a little bit with them, but I'm really curious to see how it evolves. If we have any ongoing jokes or whatever through the whole thing. It's a cool thing to have a team of people doing this with.
Right.
Yeah, I was popping off when I saw that they were both signed. Because those are, man, what the heck? How does Golden Guardians have the best, the best people?
We say when.
Yeah, because I don't know, they're some of the most genuinely great people that I know, both Brandon and Amsa. So like, I don't know. I was just really happy for him.
Yeah. Really easy people to root for. Not just in Melee, but just like I always want the best for both those guys because they're so pure.
Yeah. Well said.
Same for you, to be frank. But yeah, feel the same way about yourself.
Yeah, this is a very wholesome episode. I love this.
Yeah, something crazy. I know this is a little off subject, but I just recently watched the Reads, Toph.
Okay.
That you had with Jmook, and just talking. I know this is like a little bit off subject, but I was thinking about like the new generation with like the newest players and watching Jmook. Like I don't know. I guess I was a little mind blown when he said that he's been watching the top players since he was like 13, 14.
Yeah, I have the same vibe.
And now he says it's just like he's watching this TV show that he loves, and then out of nowhere he's just in the TV show, and all of the characters recognize him as one of the cast. And I'm like, that's mind blowing. Like just seeing the newer generation, I don't know. This makes me think about different things.
Yeah, dude, I was telling Bobby, like, I really feel like on commentary we used to say things like we still do, but we say things like, how do I word this? We say things like, oh, Melee is such a crazy game. There's someone in chat right now that's watching that we don't even know who they are, but they're gonna be killing it. Like in 5 years from now, they're gonna be beating all of us. And when we say those things, it's like, yeah, it happened, right? And I kind of realized like we used to say it, but like I don't know that we like meant it. I mean, we meant it, but we didn't like feel it deeply. Like we just kind of said it. Like it's like there's someone watching right now. It's like, yeah, okay, that's gonna happen, but like, okay, I don't know, like, or maybe Mango and Armada are just gonna win everything forever, right? But it's like, oh, this is that guy. Like when we would say those things at Evo 2013 or whatever, or Evo 2014, those tournaments, like we were talking about Jmook. Jmook was the person we were talking about. We just didn't know it at the time. And I think that's kind of just a fascinating thing.
Yeah. Like, amazing. Yeah. And you already know that there's someone else like that.
And there's someone
probably
else like
watching this right now.
Right.
Like, it's just crazy to think about.
Someone watching Jmook that's gonna, it is crazy to think about. And, it's cool that like, yeah, and it's cool that the level of play, I don't know. I feel like you said, I don't know. I just feel like the average, and everyone seems to say this, like, no leaks, but the most recent guest on the Reads, which we just got done filming this past weekend, they're another top 5 player, and they were saying the same thing. They were saying like, yeah, dude, I mean, people are just so much better than they used to be. Like, if you just play the average, platinum level person on ranked, like they're usually pretty good. Like they don't make nearly as many obvious mistakes. They understand how to combo a lot better than the average person that skill level years ago. It's just really cool to see how like when you look at the average level of gameplay, it just feels like Melee is just in a really, really healthy spot where there's so many people that are on the come up.
Yeah. Like I feel like we talk about this a lot these days, but just about how everyone's so much better now than they used to be. Like just the average player. Like I'm sure you guys remember back in 2013-ish when the documentary dropped, we had like all these new people. Because I'm pretty sure you both were competing at that time. Yeah. And if you guys can remember just how, like, to me anyway, this is how I felt, that pools were so easy back then. Like all the new players, compared to how it is now. Because back then I would have never imagined being able to even lose in round 1 pools. But that has happened to me now. And I just find it crazy. Like I'm just like, I can't take it easy in round 1 pools or anything because everyone's so good.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't get the kind of seed that you do. Like, I'm kind of like almost not expected to lose, but like I usually have a pretty sweaty set in round 1 pools anyway, but I know exactly what you mean. Like back at like those Maybe Evo's not the best example because sometimes they wouldn't see the pools very well, and there'd be like 3 top players in a pool. But anyway, your average major, yeah, I would say that like in the kind of 2013 or whatever 2015 era, it was kind of like you kind of knew who your first tough match was going to be, and like you could kind of coast until then. But these days, I was talking to Zane about this at Genesis. Okay, I guess it was 2 Genesis ago, Genesis 8. But he was saying, he had to play a Dr. Mario player first round of winners, and the Doc player took the first stock, and he was like, "Oh shit, like, what is this shit? Why am I? What is going on here?" So, no one's safe. No one's safe these days.
Yeah, at major upset, I had. In my round 1 pool, I had Sheridan, which is just in my pool, and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Like these round 1 pools are really hard." And then Sheridan ended up losing to a Samus player. I forgot the Samus player's name, but just some really good Samus. And I had to play against the Samus instead, and I was like, "I can't believe this is round 1 pools these days. Like it's just ridiculous."
So much more difficult. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout outs to all the people in my chat that are saying this is gonna be me in 5 years. I believe in all of you guys.
Yeah, you guys can do it.
Speaking of people in chat, let's start getting some callers on. But before that, because it does look like we got a good amount of questions, so hopefully we can get through at least a couple of them. We'll try to somewhat speed run them so we can get through more this week, I think. Let's check out the community voice real quick. Because last week we had two community voices actually. We had Amsa on and we had Brandon on. So basically asking what was your favorite moment from Major Upset, because there were a lot of funny moments. And also, I thought about it more, and I think my favorite moment is Amsa beating Polish, or not beating Polish, because I think was it game 4, but winning that game. The one Axe in doubles.
Oh yeah,
where I was watching and I was like, "Don't you just grab the ledge here?" But anyway, whatever. I'm not gonna worry about it. It was insane. And then I think Brandon asked, a very heartwarming question of kind of like, how's Melee changed your life? So let's see what some of y'all out there have said. Cal Jacobs says experiencing the H-Box pop-off versus Salt and SJ for the first row, exhilarating. Oh, Cal Jacobs was in the crowd, it sounds like. So that's pretty. Yeah, you haven't experienced an H-Box pop-off until you're there in the moment. That's when you got Axe chewing on the pizza, and that's how that comes out. Good times. Ethan Wise says, this is for Wasp question. I'm a casual viewer and I haven't actually been to a tournament first. Even with the most minimal engagement, watching the landscape of Melee evolved has left me with a few life lessons. I used to not like watching sports with other people because as a child I saw no point in watching a game that had no relevance to me. But as a teenager, I found Baumi's Melee videos, shoutouts to Baumi, and my curiosity was piqued. My perspective of Melee at this point was as an art. But watching older players such as King and PP and hearing their stories made me realize the game is more than about the gameplay. It's about the people. I think you guys captured this idea wonderfully in your discussion. And I also want to take the time to say thank you to PP for showing me what strength really looks like. While I was going through my own health issues, watching PP's health updates and the thoughtfulness he had to provide these health updates for his fans was deeply encouraging to me. I never would have heard a story without watching Melee. I'm still not an avid sports fan or really, the deepest Melee fan, but people like you guys have helped me to more deeply understand and walk alongside other wonderful people who love sports for their reasons. Keep doing what you're doing. Welcome, Omson Wolf. Wow, what a great answer. That's really cool to hear. Thank you, Ethan Y.
Really helps me know that stuff I put out, people do watch it, and it does help, because sometimes I ask some questions. So thank you, Ethan. Really, really wonderful to experience that. Very humbling as well. So you're here for the people and not even necessarily for the game, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much. Claudia Licious with our final community voice answer here. They're answering Brandon's as well, and they said, when I started college in 2018, I was really struggling with my motivation and purpose. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, so I started doing dumb stuff like skipping class and staying up until 4 a.m., and I got close to dropping out. I got into Melee when Ult was released, weirdly enough, and because I wanted to see improvements, I had to stick to a consistent schedule of practice, and I needed good sleep if I wanted to be ready for tournaments. And then I saw how in shape SFAT was, Vegan Gang, and figured I had to do that. And eventually I found a really good group of people to support me. So I'm happy to say that 5 years later, I have indeed graduated college. I am 1000% happier, healthier person because of Melee. And dude, I love that. I think holistic Melee player is becoming more common. Axe is on the show right now saying mentality is my number one thing, and how important that is to my Melee success. And that is that is the factor. Cody's talked about it, J-Mook's talked about it, Zane's talked about it. Everyone that's doing it right now is recognizing that this is the differentiator, how well I take care of myself, and then all that. So I love that, and I'm really glad we can encourage that for ourselves and be visible with that, so that we can encourage that for others and have effects like that we may not even know about. So I love it a lot.
Yeah, man, it's pretty tight.
This really is such a heartwarming episode.
It is. I'm here for all of it.
Love it.
With that, let's get some callers on. I think we got a bunch lined up actually. So without further ado, yeah, that's right. Our first caller is going to be.
I don't know if our production.
Maybe they're not ready.
Yeah, they may not be ready. I'm not sure.
Maybe they're not ready. I don't know. Maybe they're checking something.
I don't know. I mean, I could pull, but maybe that ruins things. What do we?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe we stall. How about?
Oh my God, we've got technically. Yeah, let's stall. We can sing the song by Hungry Box. I'm stalling. You know that song?
And all my bad sets, I have to engage. I don't know all the words,
dude. That's actually a good song.
It is. I you know what would have been funny? I wish HBox had been at DreamHack, so when he would have popped off, he could have gotten on stage and sang in the concert. And I'm really sad that didn't happen.
Okay, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, that would have been. Wait, sure, we can talk about this while we're waiting. What was the deal with the? Oh, actually, wait. I have a question. Even before that, I have a wait. Even before that, I have an even more pressing question. Is it true that it was Vanilla Melee?
Yeah.
All right, so I get to the venue day one for pools.
There's a story here. Hell yeah. Yeah.
And Amsa comes up to me and he says, "Oh, Axe, every setup is Vanilla Melee."
Oh,
I was like, "What?" It's like, "Yeah, no UCF." And I was like, "What?" So we were playing in doubles, and there was no setup that had UCF. And we're just like, is this whole tournament supposed to be just, Vanilla Melee? And at first there wasn't any UCF. I guess what happened was they had like 2 or 3 memory cards because they were using GameCubes, not Wii's, for the setups. And they had like 2 or 3 memory cards with UCF. And it was the classic overwrite data mistake that I think someone was making. Yeah. So the first one got overwritten. We're like, oh, it's okay. We have another one. And then they overwrote that one.
Wow.
They just had, and so the TOs were kind of frantically trying to message like a whole bunch of community members, like, can anyone get down here with the memory card with UCF? And we just didn't have UCF for the first, most of day one, actually. And Amsa and I were coming up with strategies of how to work around it. Our big thing was, if someone's on a platform, you can safely attack them, and you can read that they're going to spot dodge because you're not going to shield drop. So we were just reading spot dodges left and right. It was actually kind of.
But that's tough for Amsa though, right? Like he just can't be on a platform and shield. Well, I guess he can light shield and maybe get pushed off. Maybe that's his strat.
Isn't Amsa? He fobbed out.
But I think most of the fobs still default to the regular like 7.0 notch thing that doesn't shield drop.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because if you have it memorized, you could just recalibrate your notches real quick.
That'd be funny.
You could.
Yeah, you actually can.
You could. It's still harder. It's still harder, but yeah.
Amsa was actually really good at shield dropping, just going straight down. So he would do that, but he said that his muscle memory isn't as good as it used to be, so he was having a lot of trouble.
You don't have to practice it anymore. It's probably been years since he had to rely on that method.
Yeah, he never has to do that anymore. So
yeah.
But then there was one setup that had UCF. I don't know why this one did. We didn't find it until a long time. Like I guess just this one random setup had it, but the problem was there was no sound. So it was a trade-off we had to make. Yeah, but the tiers, they had UCF for day 2.
Nice.
This for sure, I will say. I found a TV. I was playing friendlies with Monotheon, the Yoshi, at Gommel, this most recent Gommel, and it felt awful. And we played 4 or 5 games, and both of us were moving kind of sluggish. And I was like, dude, does this setup feel weird? And he was like, yeah, actually it does. And we went one TV over, and then we realized, and it immediately felt way better. And we were like, oh my God, that TV literally didn't have UCF.
Wait, which event was this at?
Gommel. It was a completely inconspicuous CRT in the middle of the rows of CRTs. Almost all the setups had UCF. But there was like one random setup that definitely didn't have UCF. And like we confirmed it later, it definitely just didn't. So yeah, it's something to, I don't know. It can happen, I guess.
The same thing happened to me at Genesis, not this recent one, but the one before.
Really?
Yeah, it was actually top 64.
Oh,
and
wow.
I had to play. At least I think it was top 64, or whichever like part was like day 2, like after the like the big pools or whatever. It was very far in bracket, and I had to play versus Flinchy.
Heard of Flinchy?
Yeah, he was just a good Falco, and we were playing on a setup, and we were just like, there's no UCF on this setup. And we're just like, should we play it anyway? We were assigned to that TV, right. And we're just like, I guess we're just gonna play without UCF. So we just ran it.
Fascinating.
And weird because it was like the only setup without UCF. I don't know what happened. Yeah,
that can happen. It happens to the best of us. Okay, I think we've sorted out our technical difficulties. Yes. We're ready to get our first caller on. A Horse Who Can Drive. Welcome to the program, A Horse Who Can Drive. Where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's up? I'm from New York.
Nice. Hello. What's your question to us? Horse Who Can Drive from New York.
Sure. Yeah. So something that struck me about Axe's comments earlier about like having more fun at a tournament. I wanted to see if there was anything that the rest of us could kind of take away from your experience or your mentality shift there. So like, for some context, like I'm coming from the opposite direction where like I've been working at it. I'm getting like steadily a little bit further in bracket each time. And it's really changed the like what a tournament is for me, and like there's some pros and cons there. So I wanted to see like, is there anything that the rest of us can take there, or do you need to become like a top 10 player and then like, drop down a little bit to like kind of have that mentality shift?
I don't think so. Go ahead, Toph.
I was gonna say even before I know the question's directed at you, but I want to chime in real quick and say that I'm definitely not a top 10 player. I've never been a top 10 player, but I have had the exact experience that Axe described. I've been to tournaments and like put a lot of pressure on myself to perform really well, and made the goal of the tournament for me like I want to play really well. And then I ended up kind of choking because I was putting too much pressure on myself. And then I'll go to tournaments and I'm like, okay, I don't care how I do. I just want to play good and have fun and be a good sport and leave the tournament thinking I had a lot of fun. And I always play better at those tournaments. So I'd like to chime in real quick and say, as a non-top 10 player, I have literally been there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, basically that. But I can also say everyone, like, not everyone's the same. Not everyone's gonna feel the same as me or Toph. Like, some people really thrive in that. I want to try really hard and like just try like as hard as possible to win the whole thing, like every tournament, and they do the best that way. So like, not everyone's gonna feel the same. But I will say I have seen some people who probably should take it more lightly than they do, because I've been around for a long time, and I've seen a lot of people quit because they put a lot of pressure on themselves, and after going to a couple tournaments, they just can't handle it anymore because they're not getting the results that they want, and they end up just kind of quitting, right? And I think like if you're wanting to play this game long term, your mental health matters a lot, and if you want to keep going, I think just making sure you're having a good time does go a long way, because you can even improve just by staying in the game for a long time. And for me, I say as long as I'm having fun, I have no regrets. And I mean, hey, it's got me this far. But not everyone's gonna be the same as me. Like, not everyone's gonna feel the same way. So
yeah. So I have tried that strategy that Toph mentioned of like, oh, I just want to have fun tonight. I don't care. But
Mm-hmm.
when I say I don't care, I am lying. I do care. I care so much. So it doesn't work.
Yeah, and I mean, I can follow some of this up by saying people think if you have fun that you can't care about the result. There's this weird like, oh, I'm gonna be a Buddhist monk and I'm gonna be detached from everything, and that's what I'm gonna tell myself. And yeah, like you said, you're lying, right? Because you wouldn't have put all this time in if you didn't care. You wouldn't be going to this event and spending money to enter in whatever if you didn't care. You care, and that's fine. It's fine to care. I think what a big challenge for a lot of people is they're like, I need to succeed. I need to protect my rank. I need to prove to other people that I'm good or whatever. And a lot of people aren't conscious of this, or to varying degrees they are. But these are the types of thoughts where if that stuff gets bigger than you having fun or you wanting to learn or have a good time at the event or whatever, that's going to take over. And right now, it sounds like that's not taking over for you because you're getting better, you're improving. Don't if it's not broken, don't fix it, right? Um, but eventually, that comes for pretty much everyone, as long as you continue to improve or something in life doesn't get in the way. And so I think it was so helpful for me to remember when I started, because there was a point where this happened to me too, where I stopped having fun with the game and I started being worried about my rank and my results began tanking. And so something that was really helpful for me was remembering when I started and I was like, I want to go and I would just want to, and like this game is so fun and there's so much opportunity and there's so many things you can do. And it's just really cool to play good people. And you have those types of thoughts. And if you go into a tournament thinking those thoughts, you still care, you still want to do well, and you're hoping you get opponents that are playing well and everything like that. You're not, scared or worried, like, I hope I don't get this matchup, or, I hope my bracket goes this way. Or like there's not like a fear type thing. And I think that gets you closer to having fun, and that you're still honest with yourself about caring. So I think those are some elements that I think people can miss out on in this discussion that I've experienced.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's not about like not caring. It's just like what do you care about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think like playing long term, I think one of the most important things to learn is how to handle losses. Like that's a big one. And if you can just if you get good at handling your losses, it's okay to feel bad for losing. Just don't let it overcome you. Don't like super dwell on it too much to the point where you can't handle it anymore. But just learn how to handle losses, and then you probably will always have a good time. And something that helps me with that is just if I lose, I think to myself, okay, I'm gonna go to another event and do better next time. Like that's kind of always helped me.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Well said, everyone. And thank you for your question. Horse, got any shout outs for us on your way out today?
Yeah, I mean, shout outs to NYC Melee. Shout outs to
Oh
Jetfall
yeah.
for being Axe's biggest fan. Shout outs to Brando for running the stream every week.
Brando seems like a legend.
Mm-hmm.
Legend. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a
Take
good
care.
one.
Thank you.
Good question.
For
We got another one lined up here from Tiger Shay. Hello,
welcome, Tiger Shay.
Where are you calling in from? What's your question for us today? You are currently muted, by the way.
Yo, my fault. Calling in from Massachusetts. And I was wondering, my question was, it's specifically for Axe, is, how are you able to balance practicing your characters for fun while also balancing the characters you play for bracket? And do you think there's like a strong benefit in being experienced playing characters like beyond just those you use in bracket? Like, do you think there's a benefit to playing every character on the roster, at least a little bit?
Yes. So to answer the second part, I mean, I think so. I feel like playing pretty much any character in the game will teach you something new that you can transfer over to either your main character or make a strong secondary character. But even like, playing Bowser or something, I learn new things about the game all the time. And I think just like having a deeper game knowledge can help you at least a little bit. And to balance practicing for fun and practicing for like specifically for tournaments and stuff, to me, that kind of goes hand in hand. I mean, just learning new things in this game, to me, is really fun. Whether that's something silly like doing Ironmans, or like something very competitive like learning how to ledge dash better, or something like that. But just, I mean, to me, learning new things in this game is just super fun. And I think pretty much anything new that you learn can help you in competitive play, talking about Melee game mechanics. Yeah, I'm not sure how else to answer that question. But yeah, I think both help, honestly.
If I could add one thing, I would say if you're learning, and this is something that I felt like a broken record because I was saying it in my coaching a lot. If people come in and like, well, I don't know how to play against this character. I don't know what to do if they do this. And I'm like, well, have you played this character? Have you played as that character? Have you done that to anyone? And they go, no. And it's like, well, if you want to know what it really feels like and where it feels uncomfortable and where it feels good, I mean, feel that experience through their eyes, see it through their eyes. And if you're someone like Axe, who, is very much master of diversity, can play all the cast, he's going to have that awareness. And granted, Axe likes he likes saying, I like playing a certain way, so it's still going to be through his perspective, but he's not going to be as surprised by things. Whereas, like, I think a lot of people can still be surprised by Pikachu stuff or Yoshi stuff, right? Like, do we think Axe knows how to parry? We all think Axe knows how to parry, whereas a lot of people don't, right? So he's not going to be tripped up by, like, oh, Yoshi could parry that, or Yoshi can do this out of parry, right? Just as an example. So having that extra perspective, I think, really helps.
I bet, PP, I bet you felt that you understood how to fight Marth a lot better once you started playing Marth yourself.
Yeah, it was.
Would you say that?
I would, but it's a little strange, and I imagine Axe feels this some too, where I played Marth kind of differently from a lot of other Marths, and I felt like a lot of other Marths would make decisions that to me as a Marth player would be strange, and so I'd be like, why are you doing this? It doesn't make sense to do it. So sometimes that would actually mess with me, but I don't think that's the average player's problem. Not to say that everyone thinks like the same way or whatever, but it's like, I think just because I came into it with strange circumstances and I learned everything, like I didn't pull from the meta as much, like I did weird work with Cactuar and everything to do that. And so I think that was a little different. I think for people in general that works better, but it still worked for me. It still helped me, especially in regards to Punish game. I was less concerned. I was like, okay, well, I know more of what they're going for here, because there's a little less wiggle room in that way too.
And yeah. I mean, I've definitely felt that. Where I'll play Falco and I see another Falco. I'm like, why are they doing that? Why don't they?
Yeah, you play so differently. Yeah, I'm sure you feel that a lot.
Yeah. But even still, just playing the character, I learn like, okay, this is what Falco's afraid of. This is what he doesn't want to happen to him.
Right.
Or this is what Falco's looking for. Like just getting that perspective, playing different characters, that definitely helps you a lot. But playing, like, I don't know, at least like a little bit playing other characters in the game, it just gives you a different perspective on the game itself. And you'll probably learn something different about yourself, or just see things a different way. And I think that helps you. Like, I think that can help you as a competitor. You don't need to go like all out on the characters like I do, because I definitely spend a lot of time playing characters that I never play in tournament and stuff. But I think at least like trying it out a little bit, you will learn new things. And I think that, number one, it's fun to do, and number two, you learn more, and you can just see things in the game that you might not have really seen before. And I think that can help you grow as a competitor. Yeah, well, so to answer it, I think they kind of just go hand in hand.
Well said. Well, hopefully that answers your question pretty well, Tiger Shay. And let us know if you've got any shout outs for us on your way out today.
Yeah, shout out Melee, and thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Let's see what our next caller has for us. We've got Chapel. Hello, Chapel. Welcome to the program. Where are you calling in from? What's your question for us today, gamer?
Hey guys, I'm from Tampa, and my question is, with teams and orgs dropping off recently, what is the role of teams in the Melee scene? Should teams be pushing to create events and circuits, or should they be focusing on promoting their players? The Panda Circuit being a good example, a pretty ambitious endeavor that sort of exploded, and in the wake left a lot of players unsponsored. Is it overreaching?
I think that the Panda Circuit was kind of a uniquely, it didn't explode because it was ambitious. It exploded because of, circumstances surrounding it in Nintendo, for example, right? And the kind of, all the news with the stuff that the Panda CEO was kind of up to, right? So I don't know. I think that there actually is a place in the community now for more events and led by esports teams, and I'm saying this in no small part because I hope that I think, obviously this hasn't been pitched internally or anything yet, but I think honestly I want to do more with, for example, I'm hoping that we have the opportunity here at Golden Guardians, obviously no promises, but to do more with things like the Golden Gauntlet. We have kind of been elevating that experience every year. This most recent one, there was a open bracket kind of alongside the invitational, and I thought that was really dope. I hope we get to do more stuff like that. Obviously no promises. I'm not holding Luke or anyone on the team to doing anything that they don't want to do, but
Zeke's in the call. Come on, Zeke, make it happen.
Yeah, you're right. Zeke actually just has to do it now. But I don't know. I think that there's no reason that, and I mean, also just, I don't know, shout outs to Mango and his team, last year with kind of the Mango Nation tour. I thought that was a really cool thing. I commentated that a couple times. Obviously, I mean, Coinbox is more Hungrybox's thing, but I think it's relatively like a Team Liquid, led initiative at this point. So I definitely think that these days there's a opportunity for teams getting involved to do events to kind of distinguish themselves from other teams. Because I think, if anything, I would say that back in the day, the Evo years, let's say 2013 to 16, etc. I felt like teams were largely they'd pick players up, but they wouldn't really do events as much, or I feel like there's a lot more little unique things that teams are doing these days in terms of not just events, but also pieces of content, things like that. I feel like there's a lot more opportunity for esports teams to distinguish themselves from each other these days. So I actually think it's been moving in the opposite direction from what you're suggesting. I think it's been definitely moving in the direction of there's actually a lot that teams can be doing, and I hope it keeps going in that direction, because I think those sorts of events have always been, they've had I feel like they've had a lot of flavor. Golden Gauntlet has a lot of flavor. So yeah, that's the way I see it.
Yeah, well said. What do you think, Axe?
Well, in terms of should esports teams be pushing their players, or should they be running events and stuff? I mean, I kind of think both. I think both is great. I think the main limiting factor really is just finances, right? Because in order for them to run events, it costs a lot of money. You got to put a lot into that, and I think that's the one limiting thing. But if they have the finances for it, yeah, I mean, I think teams should run their own events. The Golden Gauntlet's a great example. I thought that was awesome, and doing things like that I think is great. You mentioned Coinbox, but things of that nature, just running big events, I think that's super cool. And then of course pushing their own players, because the more they push their own players, the more exposure they get. It helps both the player and the organization. And we've had some recently we've had some pretty tough news in the Smash scene with orgs, with I think recently CLG, that was a big one. But I with the tough news, there's also good news at the same time. With Moist Mogul Zane, for example, or here with Homemade Waffles and AMSA joining Golden Guardians. There's ups and downs, I would say. But I think the esports organizations should push towards both running events and pushing their own players as well. And it all really, in my opinion, comes down to finances, but I'm also not really an expert on this matter. So that's just what I think.
Yeah, I mean, that was going to be what I was going to start, what I was going to say with. Yeah, I'm not a finance guy. I don't know the numbers, but I can tell you, I don't think, for example, Golden Guardians would have picked us all up and paid us what they did if they didn't think that what we were doing gave them enough value, right? So I think that there is a way to make what we're doing work for more orgs, and I also think circuits are a lot. And you have to get a lot of sponsors, and you have to get a lot of the community on board, especially a more community focused group like Melee, who doesn't have a central governing body who can direct everyone to go do something or whatever. You got to get a bunch of separate TOs on board. You've got to make sure the community supports this, right? And so I think in order to have something like that work, you, at least in Melee, you need to build up that goodwill first, which is what Panda did at first. They signed players and had other initiatives like that we liked. And so I think it would make more sense to start with players and maybe content and whatever else before taking that up another step. But something that I think hasn't been said yet is also about the Panda controller, for example. They were trying to solve a problem that the community had, and yet they were going to make a good bit of money. And I don't think anyone had a problem with that because they were going to solve a real problem that we had. And whether another org comes along and tries to solve it the same way, maybe another org tries to, I don't know, make a different type of monitor or some type of TV or something like that we use, or whatever else that we could do, like there an adapter, like there are other things that could be made that would help the community, that would make money for the org, that would be beneficial for ideally everyone, or Fizzy gets sponsored, and then we could do more online stuff or whatever, right? Like there are cool things that orgs can do that can build goodwill in the scene, can make money for them, and then lead to things like circuits later, or at least that would be the hope. But the goals for different groups are different. Not everyone wants to take on that risk of a circuit, and they might have the precedent of the Panda circuit in their mind now, or the World Tour in their mind now. And they're like, well, I don't know if I can do that, or do I want to take on that risk, right? But there is a possibility, in whatever form orgs look. I'm not going to complain if an org's just going to sign players. I just like if please sign Melee players. Like I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, we're fine. We don't need more. Let's have orgs do everything. Like, no, please just help us. Like I'm not going to be picky or complain. So I'm happy with whatever orgs can do, but if they want to go above and beyond and make a win for everyone, of course, very happy with it. And I think there's some sort of a path there. If anything, I would be a little worried if an org came out of nowhere and said, "Hey, let's run a circuit. By the way, we talked to like one TO," and I'd be like, like that would be kind of weird. I'd be kind of uncomfortable about that. So building up the goodwill, I think, especially in Melee, especially with our history with some of this stuff, I think is really important.
Well said.
Thank you. But yeah, I think we're gonna keep things rolling along. Chapel, thank you so much for your question. Great discussion, and I hope you have a good rest of your day today.
All right. Yeah. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you. Take care. All right, we've got one last caller. I'm gonna look. Okay, I was told how to pronounce this. It's Nahom Tesfai. I may have still butchered it, but you know what? I tried. Hello. How'd I do? Where are you calling in from? What's your question for us today, gamer?
It was pretty good. But yeah, I'm from the Mile High City, and I was just wondering about King of the Cube. That was something that Toph was. Yeah, you were running that like a year or two ago, and I just thought it was a really unique and interesting format, combining both like the weekly aspect to it, but also like the show match, both the hype and the regularity. And I was wondering, first off, what made you stop doing that? And second of all, how viable do you think that format or like variations on that format can be?
I've got an easy answer for you. Yeah, this is an easy one. So the reason I stopped for a little bit was because, the main reason I did it, if you remember, and I know this sounds very strange now, but there was a while where, there wasn't really much going on the weekend in terms of Melee events. Like there was a kind of a stretch where there weren't that many tournaments. And so I kind of created King of the Cube to give people something to watch on weekends where there's no major. I don't run it on a weekend where there's a major. I don't want a player to feel like they have to skip out on an event. I don't want I certainly don't want to have to make the decision of, am I going to run it this weekend or am I going to stay home and do King of the Cube? So there got to be this period where I literally was traveling 8 weekends in a row, and I was like, well, it doesn't make sense to, I can't run it on a Friday if I'm on an airplane. That being said, I could run it now, and I'll tell you that the only thing stopping me is I ordered a bunch of, so my computer's on the way out. It's got a lot of problems. Anyone who has ever tried to be in a call with me knows that there's constantly audio issues, and I've had weird issues even when I stream and my mic will just start cutting out. I've got new computer parts on the way, and when I get my new computer built, so probably within a couple weeks, I'm planning on hitting people up again. Spark is the current reigning King of the Cube. Spark actually messaged me about it like a week ago and was like, "Hey, so should we bring it back?" So I'm here to tell you that yeah, I the limiting factor right now is I need to get my new computer. Because I've had a couple experiences, if you watch some of the older episodes, where shit got fried during the broadcast. Because I'm doing a lot, because I'm Discord streaming to the players, and I'm slippy mirroring, and I'm running the stream, obviously, and I'm doing all the stream control stuff. And my computer's on the older side at this point, and it doesn't like when that much stuff is happening. So I had some very obnoxious computer issues that I just don't want to think about when I do King of the Cube, because it's very stressful. Because I even had an issue where it cut out while the players were playing, and we missed one of the games, and it was actually very annoying. It was probably very frustrating for the players. So I don't want to deal with that again. So I want to make sure my hardware is shipshape. But yeah, it's coming back, and I'm gonna run it. I don't think there's any reason format wise that it can't be run. I think the plan is going to be any weekend that I'm not traveling, I'm going to run it on Friday. So
cool. And
yeah,
would anyone in the call whose gamer tag starts with the letter A like to join a King of the Cube one week?
Send me a DM. We could talk about it.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Let me know. I always try to do it based on what matchups I think people find interesting. So if there's any matchups that you think you'd really like to, I got to shout out Kadoran for this one. I usually bring on challengers that I think would be like a slightly favorable matchup against the reigning champ, so that so that we keep cycling people. But Kadoran wanted to come in as a challenger the week that Spark was king. And Kadoran was like, at the time, I'm ass against Sheik. Spark is probably going to win, but I want Sheik practice, and I actually also want an excuse to grind the Sheik matchup. So bring me in. And he didn't win. He lost. But I thought it was really cool that he actually was like, no, put me in. I want a shot, even though it's probably going to be a wash.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting.
If that's you too, yeah, we could talk. But otherwise, I was going to save you for a week where, like a little Pikachu action coming on a Marth or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Send me. I could talk to Aklo. We could do a Young Link.
That would be fun. Yeah. We did have Zane versus Lag that one week, so we could have hype. Yeah, that was fun. So
so either something like that, or just like I don't know, someone who you think I'd be a good matchup against with Pikachu. I can't think of who off the top of my head, but some interesting set that would be cool. Yeah,
I'll hit you up. Sounds good.
Right.
Love that. Making things happen. Well, hey, thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to try again. I don't really think it's going to go any better, but I'm going to read what's written here. Thank you, Nahom Tesfai. Oh man. Thank you for calling in and your question. Do you have any shout outs for us on your way out today? I tried.
Create, aka Metawatt, great TO. ePoodle did wonderful in Genesis. and just my personal Footsies Discord. They're wonderful people.
Nice.
Thanks,
Very
guys.
nice.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.
Peace.
Awesome.
Okay. Well, I will be respectful of your time, Max. We've had you here for a bit today, so we're just going to ask you for one more thing, of course, and that is the community voice, the question that you have to ask to the YouTube comments. And now it can be serious. We've had things like, what's your favorite major? If you haven't gone to a major, which one would you go to? If you haven't gone to a local, what's stopping you? We've had funny ones. Who would Elijah Wood main? It really can be whatever you want. It's your question. You can ask it. Just maybe, I know this might be hard for you, X, but don't ask anything against TOS, okay?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, so a question to ask the community, huh? Oh man. Okay, I thought of a simple one. Do I want to spice it up any? I can't. It's hard for me to think. I guess I'll keep it simple. What is your favorite character to play that is not your main, and why?
Oh, that's a great question. I love that question. That's an awesome question. That is an awesome question.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's it.
That's a fun one. Yeah, no,
mine goes back and forth. I will say, if that's you can, if your answer changes from time to time, that's fine. Lately, I've been on a little bit of a Falcon kick.
The Falcon, huh?
That's a move. That's a move, by the way.
Not the Falcon Punch. Don't get it mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Not the Falcon Punch. Never the Falcon Punch.
Disrespectful.
Never the Falcon Punch. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think for me, I think the answer's been...
Except Sacred Combo. Sacred Combo is really cool.
That's different. Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. That's different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me, it'd be Fox. That guy's just so fast.
Nice.
You
been on a Fox kick?
I've been. I mean, every time I pick him, he's just so fast. It's like Rock Lee taking the weights off. I'm like, oh, it's like Falco, but I can just yeehaw, and that's kind of fun sometimes. It's just kind of fun to be that fast. I mean, Axe knows that everything better than almost anyone. It's just fun to be that fast. Not that you're not fast with Pikachu already, but sometimes just having
Fox is on another level.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fox is really fast.
So fast.
Yeah.
Who would it be for you, Axe? I know you main the whole cast, but if it wasn't Pikachu, is it just Falco?
I'm not gonna lie, it's hard for me to pick one. But I would say recently, for some reason, I've really been liking Captain Falcon lately. So I might say Falcon. He's just fun. I don't know. He is
fun.
Yeah, he's like
Fox for me.
Yeah, he's like easier to control than Fox, so it's not as like strenuous on the hands, I guess I'll say. And I don't know, it's just fun being fast and like powerful, and you just go everywhere.
You just choke slamming people, and you knee them, and they get all sparkly and electric, and it's cool.
Yeah, I play Green Falcon because I want to shout out Jeff, the original Jeff.
Nice.
The Jeff connection.
Yeah. My Falcon's name is Jeff, so I always play Green.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's been, I don't know, I like Falcon lately.
Well, awesome. Well, hey, I think that's a fun question. I think it gets people thinking about how they enjoy Melee, so I love it. I love it. And thank you for coming on, Axe. It's always a good time. Another beautiful, wholesome episode in the books. Thank you so much. Thank you, Toph, for holding it down as always. Great insight, great questions, great segues, great everything. This man, he's a master communicator. And thank you, everyone that called in, everyone that listened. Thank you so much. We will be back next week. But for now, this is Radio Melee signing out.